today I'm going to be pouring 3 individual pieces. They're all going to be white marble. But I'm going to be doing 3 different techniques, but with all the same colors. So a lot of people are very concerned and scared to do some of these patterns, and there's a lot of different methods regarding how you want to apply it regardless of your skill level. So there's always a way to apply this. So some people just want to spray. So we have just sprays, we have liquid mixed. I'm going to show you how to do all of it. So we of course started out with a good mix of our white, and we are doing white marble today. We start out with our white liquid base mixed into our regular epoxy, our countertop epoxy. I poured out, this is 1 quart per pour because these are 24 by 24 inches, and I'm going to go corner to corner with my foam roller, try to get a good, even application of product. It's really good, really important to make sure before you start accenting anything that you start out making sure you have a really smooth, even application across your whole piece. You want an even layer. You don't want thin and thick layer spots anywhere. And it does self-level quite a bit, but you still want to get it as close as possible with the roller. This is our premium countertop epoxy from countertopepoxy.com. It's the only true zero VOC product in the world, meaning there is no volatile organic content. So it was very difficult to create something like that. A lot bigger a challenge than we thought it would be, but it turns out it stays really color stable and it's very hard. So it does everything epoxy should do better than most epoxies, and it's healthy. So I'm going to start out here with our mix of colors here. We have black and charcoal. This is white marble. So normally you'd be mixing probably most preferably one or the other. You might even spray your charcoal and pour your black epoxy as your veins. If you notice, that was a liquid pigment, not a powder, so it's very opaque and non-metallic. So sometimes I like to actually pour some of my accents out like I'm doing here. And sometimes I'll even just get my stick a little bit dirty. This might sound stupid, but like a dirty stick, just like this, pick up some of my drips right here, and I'm gonna layer 1 large drip across this piece here. And I do like to make sure with all my veins that I start from one side and I go all the way off the opposite side, and don't do what I just did. Thank God it didn't drip, but I actually just went right across the middle, and that's kind of dangerous. Try not to have a lot of big curves or waves in your veins, and honestly, as big of a vein as I'm doing right here, I probably shouldn't have too many of those because it's going to be really overpowering very quickly. If you see a big blob coming off, make sure. So that is one method right here. To do that, I'll show you the difference between that and gold veining. The gold veins, I'm going to do a little more subtle here. Do the same technique, mixed right into my white base. All right, and then we also have charcoal. Now, normally, guys, remember, do not do this much accenting because the customer wants a white marble top. This is your charcoal, and again, I mix it into some of my drips just so I don't have it quite as concentrated. And there's just a little bit of a difference I hope you can see on camera between charcoal and black. Some people are really opinionated and they really just want that charcoal, and some people are the opposite and they only want the black. So the next one, maybe we don't want to try to be artistic. I know I'm not that artistic, guys. You poured your white, and you don't want to be artsy. You just mix your accent colors right into your epoxy, and look at how little I'm putting down, and I'm still probably gonna fuck this up with too much. So really watch this. This is something I like to do and show though a lot, because if you're doing huge kitchens, a lot of times you have time for some of this really unique accenting of it. But if you're working on it by yourself and you're in a large house and you're trying to get everything done all at one time, you might want to do a little more of a technique like this. Now, I put down this amount and you're going to see how much this overwhelms a piece very quickly. So it's usually better to not be like Levi. My name's Levi, by the way. Don't be like me. And add your accents a little more subtly at first, because you will quickly see what plagued my jobs forever was I would have a quart mixed and I didn't want to waste it, so I'd dump it all out. And pretty soon you don't have it all what the customer wanted. But if you notice, look how easy this is. Literally the roller does all the work for you. The only thing you can do is get in the way of progress. The very final one, I spritz a little bit of charcoal. So just like this one, I put the charcoal on there to get the black. Just my personal preference, I do like to not add too much of the gold, because gold is usually a little piece of iron deposit that rusts. One of my least favorite trips and best trips in my life was to Brazil. I got to see this massive granite quarry, and it was really funny how boring some of the slabs were right when they were slabbed. And then you got to see as they got exposed to oxygen, and they'd wash them down with water after they polished them, and they'd get prettier and prettier as they'd oxidize, because all the iron deposits would start looking like gold in the pieces, and coppers would turn green, and you'd get these really neat deviations that you wouldn't even see before. So it was really kind of fun to watch. So I am going to torch it. I personally generally tend to use a torch. And this is where you're going to notice it's going to pop all my little air bubbles and help self-level the product really, really rapidly. It does that a little bit on its own without this, but this torch is definitely helpful. And I use a torch on every one of my jobs to pop all my air bubbles. Some people prefer to use a heat gun or a blow dryer. The only reason I like a torch is it doesn't actually have airflow pushing the pattern around that you just worked on, so at least it pops the air bubbles with as little movement or changing your piece as possible. We're speckling alcohol, 99% isopropyl on here. And do you see how it's breaking the color down in here? It gives it a really pretty mottled effect. And you see little divots, I know, but just remember those divots are all going to go away. So you'll see the color do what it's doing, but you will not see the depression in the epoxy itself.